Hey everybody, welcome to Shed I Love with Jason Stuart. That's me, and my guest and my friend, Danielle Truitt.
Hi.
Oh, Danielle Moné.
Yeah.
Is that a new thing?
No.
When I met you, were you all three?
Oh, you know what? I was deciding whether I wanted to go by Danielle Moné Truitt or just Danielle Truitt, and I decided on Danielle Moné Truitt because I love my middle name. I don't want to leave it out.
Oh, it's too long for the billboard.
You think so?
Yes. I think a shorter name.
Maybe I should just say Danielle Moné.
I like that too. But then it reminds me of someone else, and I
know, Janelle Moné.
Yeah,
Everybody has a Moné.
who I am so into.
I love her. Yeah, she's
yes,
great. She's
I love her
awesome.
whole idea, free to be you and me, and the
Yeah.
way she's sort of exploring sexuality in such a positive way.
No, I love her. She's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. For now, it's Danielle Moné Truitt.
Well, I'm cool with it.
Long and beautiful.
Yes, long and long. Well, Danielle and I met a couple years ago when she was doing this incredibly brilliant play directed by Roger Ganvier Smith and also starring Larry Bates called Mountaintop, which was a fictionalized version of the last day of Martin Luther King. And you played
Camille, which was a maid in Lorraine Motel.
Where was the last night where he was,
right.
and it turns out that the maid is God.
Yeah, she's an angel, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
But to me, it just seemed like a God figure.
Yeah, she's an angel that God sends to take him to the other side. But God is a woman in the play, which is awesome.
Okay. I was so moved by that play, and I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
I really don't know why it hasn't been. Has it been on Broadway? And I just
it was. It was.
Okay.
It was on Broadway years ago with Angela Bassett and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, okay. Well, then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's one I missed. But I just absolutely loved it. And what I loved, number one, was the power of the two of your performances, the creativity, and how different that Roger had directed the play.
Yeah.
There's a thing with the phone.
Yeah.
Chord when he's talking to people on the phone that was so. I don't even know how to explain. How do you explain it? He used the phone as a.
Yeah.
The chord.
The phone cord was like super long, so he made it super long, and at one point he uses it to like entangle me, like to keep me there,
right?
To keep my character there, which is really cool, and he takes the phone cord all the way over to the bed, like to talk to God on the phone, and it was kind of like
the phone cord is something I miss in a way because we used to when I was a kid. Where was the phone?
It's like a connection.
Yes, it's in the middle of the house. It wasn't. It was hard to get to it. It meant something to talk on the phone.
It sure did. Yeah.
You know, there's a call coming, and where it's from it's from New York. It's across.
Right now,
it's long distance.
Now it's nothing.
Right now, we don't even pick it up unless we know who the number is.
Exactly.
Which I don't do. So if you ever call me,
I do.
You don't.
I don't pick up the phone if I don't know
the number. Could be that call from George Clooney.
If I don't know the number, I let them leave a message until I know who it is.
Really?
I do. Yeah. You know what? I don't like talking on the phone, which is crazy. I used to love talking on the phone when I was young, but I'm kind of an introvert, and I want to be prepared to have a conversation on the phone because it takes energy. It takes energy to talk on the phone to someone. Texting, you can kind of, you can send a text back.
I just hate waiting forever to text, and
That's true.
And I can't tell you how many times I text the wrong person something, or I said something wrong, or
I'm a quick texter. I will say that.
Well, because it's your.
I get right back.
Well, yeah, you're it. It's your generation. I want to just say, okay, and I don't want to text and drive, and everybody does.
They do, and I've tried to do better at that. I have a thing on my phone where I won't get any messages while I'm driving.
Oh, good.
Yeah, or my phone won't buzz or anything while I'm driving. So I
have hands-free in the car.
Because I have children. I have to be safe.
You have 2 kids.
I do. 2
and
sons.
Your husband, who is a barber.
Yes.
And a minister.
He is, yes.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
And I've been we've done these twice. We've done these wonderful, what do you call these nights?
Oh, it's called More Than a Hashtag. It's a community awareness night about the misuse of police force.
And I got to tell you, both times I was so struck and so moved and so honored to be a part of it. It means so much to me.
Thank you.
To show up in that way. Anytime I can show up in that way and, just be a part of something that doesn't have to do with myself always.
Of course.
And to be of support. in that way. It makes me really, really happy.
Yeah, me too.
You know, like what's going on with all these kids now.
Yeah, it's breaking my heart.
I want to call the senator, get on the phone and go, I can do this. Give me the name of all the agencies. Give me the names of all the kids. I can organize this. I am ready. How many Marias are there? 32. Okay. 16 Emmanuels. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Put the ages down. All right. Get the parents. Let me see who the kids are. And it's just basically, it's a puzzle that you got to put together. It would take a week.
Yes. They've made
I get all my friends together. We'd all do it.
They make it so complicated.
Yeah.
Because it's not when things aren't about what they should be about, that's when they become complicated. So when things are about money and about power, then there's people
willing to do it for free.
Yeah, but they don't care because that's not why they're doing it.
I was very upset today because there was a radio personality who really gives good advice about children, but I don't like her politics at all, which is, and I won't even say her name, but she was saying that it is the people's fault for coming to this country, bringing their children here. You know, we have a thing about asylum. It's a law that we are allowed to come here on asylum. My father came here on asylum. He was in 1949 after the Holocaust. He came here, and he was sponsored by his aunt and uncle. Now you can't get people. It's much more difficult to do that. And you know, we're getting all this all this information now that what's going on in those countries.
They are not
that
wrong
people are
for
being
bringing their children.
raped.
They should leave their children there. They should leave their children in a country where they're not safe. That doesn't make any sense.
Rape, asylum, kids having to be forced being into gangs.
You bring your child with you.
And the amount is so small, and apparently there was another group that said that when these people are coming from other countries, they are creating billions of dollars by their work on what they're doing. So, and the amount is so small. The only thing that I can say is this is racism.
It is.
It's blatantly racism.
And it's greed and power. That's what it is. Like those are all the facets that contribute to it. And I just America just gets on my nerves a lot because it's so hypocritical. Like,
well, it's like
there's no such thing.
You know,
as
it's when the Irish came at the turn of the century, and then the Italians, and then the Jews.
How can you say that? Like, how can you say that? You came here, you stole a country from a group of people who were minding their own business,
and created a holiday about it.
Yeah, and you massacred them, gave them smallpox, and killed them off. Took their country. Then you drug people who didn't want to come over here. Right. To work the land and build your country for you.
Not give them credit.
Not give them credit. Not take care of them after, then you disenfranchise them after you free them. And I'm putting my fingers up.
We're talking about African Americans.
Yes.
Or Africans, rather, coming to the Americans.
And then, to me, it's like, there's no such thing as immigrants. Like, there's no such thing as, in my opinion, of a place where you are wrong for coming to this country. No, it's what
our country is built on.
Exactly.
And what Trump said, what I really was offended by, he says, we want our best. So that means that everybody here is going to be a famous person or, somebody who runs a company. What about all the people that do all the work that, when you go to this gorgeous restaurant, you're having your birthday and somebody's the waiter there and they make this wonderful evening for you. There are people that is their job and that's what they want to do.
Also,
it doesn't mean that they're not the best at what they do just because you don't feel that way.
There are people who are born into this country that grow up to be nothing. They grow up to waste their lives doing nothing.
Or they just have a simpler life.
Yeah, but I'm talking about people who become these people that Trump were talking about. Like he'll try to villainize, like, oh, they're gang members or they're criminals. Like, these are the people that that he doesn't want in this country. There are people who are born into this country.
Oh yeah, it has nothing to do with being born or not born.
Or there's people that grew up in this country that end up becoming president that ain't worth shit.
Of course.
That need to be kicked out. Like, to me, he should be kicked out of the country.
Well,
like,
I don't know
if we're talking about our best, he's not one of them.
No.
So I'm like, well, Trump, are you talking about yourself? Because you're not one of our best.
No.
And having money has nothing to do with being one of our best. Like, it's about the heart. Like, that's
for the life
who the
of
best
it,
people are.
Cannot figure out what he is about, other than power and racism. Yeah, and maybe even not racism, because maybe he's about
doesn't even.
Maybe
power.
It's just a greedy, and if he would become a part of any group, so he could be, so there is no. There is no group that he would want to be a part of to become where he was. Which brings us to your TV series. So 2 years ago, is it 2 years now, I guess? Or, almost 2 years ago, you went in and auditioned for a series that John Singleton of Boys in the Hood and Shaft and so many wonderful films. Such a brilliant, brilliant director who I was so excited to meet through you. Yeah. And you did this series called Rebel, where you played a policewoman. Tell us.
Yeah, I did a series called Rebel on BET, where I played a policewoman out of Oakland, California, who is an ex-military person and ends up becoming a detective for the Oakland PD. And her brother ends up getting murdered by the police. So then she goes into trying to figure out why that happened and ends up uncovering like a whole bunch of, stuff.
And this was your first time ever having a series. You were the lead. The show was about you. This was my first time leading a series. It was sort of crazy.
It was awesome. Yeah.
What was it like for you to go from being a theater actress, an occasional part on film or television, to a major series with a major director? It must have been like...
It was awesome. I mean, it was, of course, it was petrifying. It was scary. Like, the first day I was like, oh my God, like, is he going to change his mind? Maybe he made a mistake, but once I did my first, take, and I think Giancarlo Esposito was there that first day. We shot a scene together, and so he's amazing.
You guys all know him from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and shooting a scene with him on my first day was like, that's like really all I needed to, like, if I can get through shooting this scene, then I'm good, And John was so supportive and like, just smiling and, telling me how good I was doing. And the cool part about it was, because I do come from the theater and because I do, I have done like one-woman shows where it's just me on the stage. And I think theater and doing those kind of performances requires a lot of stamina. And when you are the lead of a television series where the entire series is kind of based around you, I almost felt like it was almost the same. Like I was the first one there, last one to leave, pretty much every day.
Did you feel overwhelmed? I recently, I just told you, I did this little indie film called Hank, where I played Hank, and I was the lead. I haven't played a lead in anything in a million years, and I never do because I'm a character actor. I felt a little overwhelmed by people constantly wanting to be near me and ask, "Are you okay?" Even in a nice way, it was like, I need to focus on I need to focus on the scene. This is a really emotional scene. I don't care about I don't care about the water.
Right. I was overwhelmed for sure.
How did you get past that?
I would just, as many times as I could go back to my trailer and be by myself, I would try to do that. And I
did the same thing. I needed space.
And I also was just true to myself. Like I was very nice to everyone, but I was like, I don't need you to tie my shoes. Like I could do it. Like
that seemed crazy.
Yeah, it was even hard. I'm a mom too, so I'm used to like doing things for other people and not having people tie my shoes.
Tie your shoes.
And I was like, that was it's okay.
So people listening at home, we're in a movie set, and the wardrobe person wants to tie your shoes.
Yeah, and it's like, no, like it's okay, So we became a big family. Yes, I was overwhelmed. I was so exhausted, like to the point where like my eyelid would just start twitching, because I was just like, I would be on set.
Was it 8 days to shoot an hour episode?
Yeah, it was like 8 or 9 days to shoot. Yeah.
And then how many days would you have off?
No, they gave us 13 days, I think, to shoot each episode.
And how many days would you have off in between each episode? None at all.
Oh, maybe 3 days, 5 days, maybe. But we shot over the holidays, so we did get like a week off at one point, like for Christmas, I think. But during the when we shot the pilot, like we shot 17 days straight. I think we only got Sundays off, and we worked 80 hours a week. So
at first it's fun.
So excited.
First it's so exciting. And then you get to the first one, I'm done, and you think, okay, I did it. Now, I got to do it again.
Yeah, they're right. When we started the series, the cool thing was I would go in. Sometimes I have to be there like 4 a.m. or something crazy, but I would get off at like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. because with TV, the pilot was like a TV movie, so it was we ran it. They shot it like a movie schedule. Where
so it was a 2-hour.
Yeah, the 2-hour
yeah.
thing. But when we did the actual series, it was run very much like TV. So it was like 8 to 12 hours a day. And it was like I was off by 6 at the latest, most of the time, unless we had a night shoot. Then I would go in at 4 and not get off till late. But that was a little better, but still very tiring, very overwhelming.
Just and if people got to know you, I would assume wardrobe, hair, and makeup.
Oh yeah.
All the people at the AD, and they would leave you alone. They'd say, okay, they would start.
Yeah, they would give me my time, but it was hard. It was hard on my hair. It was hard on my body.
Your hair, yes.
Yeah, I had to. At one point, I was like, "Yo, like you guys are gonna have to do something because I'm not gonna be bald headed after this show's over." So
gotta do some wigs.
We're gonna have to do some wigs.
If you ever watch any shows, even white women, you see after a while, they don't.
Yeah, they're wearing wigs.
Well, Julianne Margulies never wore her hair.
Yeah,
on,
I learned.
Good Wife.
I learned because I was like, oh, like my hair is like breaking off, and because it's TV, like they have to. You don't have a lot of time, you know what I mean?
And you're a police officer, and they want you to look really glamorous.
Well, I ended up not being a police officer anymore. I was a private. I turned into a private detective. I quit the force, so I could be more, urban.
How was that? How did you feel the quality of the show was? How did that feel? In terms of the work, in terms of who did you tell people who you got to work with first?
Well, I got to work with Giancarlo Esposito. I got to work with Michael T. Williamson,
who's brilliant,
incredible. I got to work with
know Michael. And he's a lovely man too.
I love him so much.
Fences recently.
Yeah. I got to work with Method Man, who is like the best ever. I got to work with LaTanya, Samuel Jackson's wife.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, she was on the show. We didn't have that many scenes together, but so she was cool, and with some younger actors that I got to work with. I loved my cast. I loved everybody. The directors were awesome. Carl Seaton was awesome. Jeff Bird, Sally Richardson, who's a female director and has gone on to be directing everything. She's doing great.
Jeff Bird's done a lot.
Yeah, Jeff Bird is like a vet. Right. Sheldon Candace is awesome. So yeah, we had a great group.
How did you the enormous amount of dialogue that you'd have to learn? Did you have a process, or did you have someone to work with? Or?
No, I have an acting coach that lives in Sacramento, so we Skype a lot. But because of the schedule, it was really hard for me to like have time to coach. Like you just don't have time for that.
Right.
But the cool thing is, once you're working on a show for so long, you get the rhythm of it. And once you've been sitting with a character for so long, you're like, okay, she's me now, so I can watch the entire series and I can see like my growth, like as an actor, and especially for television, like coming from theater, television, and it definitely makes a difference with who's directing you. You know what I mean?
Do tell.
Yeah, like depending on who's like John has a very different style than Sally.
John Singleton,
yeah. John Singleton has a very different style than Sally Richardson.
The first time I met him, he started to talk about Birth of a Nation.
He's amazing.
He just knew everything, and
he's brilliant.
He said, "How are you, a comedian, doing this?" It was just,
he's brilliant.
Yeah, he understands.
Down to earth. He's freaking awesome. But yeah, by the time I got to episode 10, we got to episode 10, and I was just like, wow, like, just seeing like my journey for, having my first thing. And I loved the show. I thought that the quality of the writing got better as the series went on, which a lot of times happens. Like the pilot is always a harder thing to pull together with the writing and stuff.
Were you allowed to make the dialogue your own?
There was times when I was like, this doesn't make sense to me, or this doesn't sound right coming, from my character. I think she would say it this way. Can we try it this way? And so we would have conversations, but there's so many different people who are, producers are in charge of this and that, and the scriptee wants you to stay with what's on the script. And, so we would definitely have times where we're like, yeah, this needs to be changed. Like, this is not going to work, or the writer would have to come in. So that's all cool. But learning dialogue is not a problem for me. And I think that's because of my theater background. It's Wonderful. Just like, especially doing, one woman shows.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second, but we're going to take just a little break here while we do a commercial. And I'm going to do it right now. Your home away from home is a Silver Lake Casa Crawford. In strolling distance to both Echo Park and Silver Lake, Casa Crawford is the perfect bed and breakfast. It's just a couple miles, I think it's 3 miles from downtown in Hollywood. You get this wonderfully large bedroom with original artwork and walls on the walls. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. You have a view of the hills. So for a reservation, call 323-664-1664. That's 323-663-1664. And you call my friend Scott at Casa Crawford. It's really wonderful. So if you need a bread and breakfast, this is the place to go. Thank you, Scott. So now you are working on this it's called Three.
Mm-hmm. Three Black Girl Blues.
And you are playing all these 3 different people. Because I saw it, and when I didn't have my glasses on, I looked at the poster, and I thought, oh, these are 3 different people.
No, they're all me.
And I thought, oh, wow. And I put on my calendar, definitely come and see. It's going to be in Los Angeles, California.
Yeah. And
it's at the Pico Playhouse, August 10 to 12. Mm-hmm. And wow. So what made you decide to do this? Are you producing it? Or is
yes, I'm producing it. I've actually produced it several times in the past. So before, I was a big TV actress. Not playing.
Right.
I've always had the forthright to kind of do my own stuff and not wait for people to give me opportunities. So years ago, it had to have been at least 10 years ago, I found a bald spot in my hair, and it was like right after I got married, and it was like stress or whatever, and I was missing some hair. And
I see you pulling on your hair.
Yeah, I love my hair. I love my hair very much.
Here, I have to fix just one thing that's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy.
But I love my hair, and I found a little bald spot, and I was just so insecure about it, and trying to hide it.
You have a lot of hair, honey.
Yes, I do.
Finding a bald spot would be very difficult.
Well, I used to wear my hair straight back then, like flat ironed, so it was easier to find a bald spot. Nowadays, it's like, no, I have my fro going on. But so I was very insecure about it, trying to hide it, trying to, whatever. And I was like, man, I want to do like a play about like self-worth and vanity and like just being a Black woman.
You wrote this too, then?
I created it, and a friend of mine, his name is Anthony Dewan, who wrote the piece that we did last year for More Than a Hashtag.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, you
met
him.
I love that, yes. I was the narrator.
Yes, he helped me write this play. And so I hit him up, because we've been friends for a long time. I hit him up and was like, hey, I want to do a one-woman show. I want you to write it, though. And he's like, okay. So I told him the premise. I told him, what I wanted the series to be about and stuff like that. And he's like, well, so we talked about it. And we're like, oh, we'll do a series of one-woman plays for Black women or whatever, called Black Girl Blues. And the first play under that series is Three, and that's the one that I'm performing in August. But it's about 3 women who grew up together, and now they are in their 30s, and they're having to like face their demons and things that lies they've told, secrets they've kept, betrayal that they've had against one another. That is kind of coming to the surface. So these 3 women that I'm playing, all 3 of them, but they all 3 know each other from back in the day, and it's a really great piece. Like
I can't wait to see it.
It's also a meditation on like worldly pleasures and our like desire to come clean with things that we've done in our lives that we try to bury, and at some point it's like you can't not deal with it. It has to come, to the light or whatever. So the first time I did this play was in 2011, after I had my first son.
You have 2 boys.
I have 2 boys, yeah, 7 and 3. And that's not their names. I'm sorry. Because nowadays that could
be their name.
Right? But one is 7, one is 3. But when I had the 7-year-old, I just had a baby, and I was like, man, like, looking for something to do. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have anything. I was working at Disneyland before I had the baby, and I did another one-woman play up in Sacramento. And so I was like, I want something to do. And Anthony had sent me the play, like, when I was first getting pregnant.
I'm so upset because I want to do one of his plays.
Oh, well, I mean, he has other plays. There's one called Potential Literature that is freaking amazing, and we should produce it. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a second. But, so anyway, I read the play before I got pregnant, and I was, like, being very judgmental of the play, because the first character is an urban socialite is what we like to call her, but she is very hood. Like she grew up in the hood. She's very like brash and like.
Wait, so, but she's a socialite at the same time.
That's what we're calling her. We're calling her our urban socialite.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That's a better way to say like she's ghetto.
Okay.
Right, she's super ghetto. And when I first read it, I was like, "What is this?" Like, I'm not getting on stage and playing this kind of part. Like, this is, I'm not gonna be a stereotype of us. I literally didn't finish reading it. I read like 3 pages and was just like, didn't say anything about it. But after I had my kid, I was like, well, let me read that play again. Like, let me really give it a chance and really read it, right? So I'm reading it, and by the time I got to the end of that first monologue, which is like a 6-page, monologue of this first character, which is the urban one, I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like I don't want to give anything away for the play, but it was just like, wow. And then I go and I read the second character who is a stay-at-home mom who is like stressed out, gets no help from her husband, and her husband's off doing, he's working and off doing his thing, and she like trying to act like she's okay, but she's not, and she drinks too much to try to, overcompensate for it, and she's completely different than the first character, but they know each other because they grew up together or whatever. So I'm like, my heart is broke, when I'm reading this character, and I'm like, oh wow, and I'm a new mom at that time, so I'm like, I can totally understand like the, feeling like, well, is there anything more to me than just being somebody's mom? Did you see
mom? Tully? The film that Charlize Theron just did about the mom.
No, I gotta see it.
It's just in the theater. Jason Reitman directed. It's called Tully. It's about this mom who gets has her 3rd child and is completely overwhelmed. And one of her children is on the spectrum and has special needs, and then she has this child. She's pregnant again, and she's like almost 40, and she's not as it's harder to get your body back. And they talk about getting a night nurse. And in the film, she doesn't really get a night nurse. The night nurse is really her as a younger person. And I love it. It's really a wonderful film.
I gotta see it.
You should see it.
Dope. Yeah, so that character, she's struggling, with that.
I think it's a lot of people right now because women seem to have it all, but having it all is very hard.
It's very hard.
And men still don't want to have it all.
No, they don't. And people always ask me this question when I'm doing interviews and stuff, like, oh my God, you're a mom, like, how do you balance it? And what I'm learning is you don't. You don't balance it.
Is not perfect.
And nobody ever asks men that. Nobody ever says to my husband.
Well, because men don't want to have it
right,
all.
And nobody says like, oh, Kelvin, you're a dad. How do you balance being a husband and a dad and a barber and a minister? Nobody asks him that. It's like, because they don't. Men don't balance. Men do what they want to do. They do what they want to do.
I think so.
And there's no such thing as balance. There's no such thing. You can't.
Something always
is going to suffer. I don't even know if suffering is the right word. Something's going to take a back seat.
I think it's okay too.
I do too.
My mom was, very, very outlandish, and she was very young when I was born. She was 17 when she got married. She was 21 when she had me, and had my brother when she was 18. So by the time she was 25, she had 3 children. Yeah. So she went through her adolescence with us. Right. So
that's how my mom was.
And I'm not a big advocate of having children really young. Right. Because I think you're just not ready. Right. But yet, I turned out okay. Yeah. So it's not, nothing's perfect.
Right. Nothing's perfect, and I think we put too much pressure on ourselves as women. We put too much pressure on ourselves, and we allow the world. Women really do, yes. And we allow the world to shame us and to make us feel like, oh my! I mean, I struggled a lot when I first had my kids, being a mom and having desires, for my career and putting my all into it, because you have people looking at me like, oh, well, who's going to take care of the kids? I'm like, their dad. Their dad.
Their father.
Their father is going to take care of the kids. The man I'm married to. Right.
That is my partner.
You're leaving for 2 months? Who's going to take care of the kids? Kelvin Orlando Truitt is gonna take care of the kids. What are you talking about? Like, and I know he's a dude. I'm gonna send my mom to help, and his mom's gonna come help because I know they need help. But then when he goes off and does something, and I have the kids, nobody's worried about me. Nobody's checking on me. Oh, how are you doing with the kids?
The moms come over. No,
ain't nobody trying to bend over backwards to help me.
Do you have this conversation with your husband?
Oh, we laugh. Yeah, we laugh about it. We've had this conversation because it was a point of much frustration for me at the time. I can laugh about it now, but I was hurt by it because it was people who were close to me, like making me feel like I was wrong for pursuing my career to the point that I was.
Well, Calvin had to stay home a lot, I'm guessing.
Well, he's a barber. He makes his own schedule. So and at that point, he had quit the barbershop because he owns a barbershop, so he has barbers there, and he has celebrity clients. So he would take his celebrity clients. He could be home.
They could come to the house.
They could come to the house. Like, that's how we've set up our life.
Or do it so that when the kids are in school.
Right. So it's very important for ladies, when you're a mother and a wife, to be okay with, like, this is my life. This is my journey. This is the way that I'm choosing to live my life.
I met somebody recently, and I keep thinking to myself, God, how am I going to, if this is really going to happen, that means I'm going to have to not be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. To tell somebody.
Right.
And you wake up and they're there.
Yeah. And they are like looking at you. And then when you have kids, they're looking at you like, how are we going to eat? What are we going to do today?
Well, we weren't like that at all. My mother used to leave. She wouldn't get up in the morning because she'd been, sleeping pills and her diet pills and her Valium to calm down. And, this was the day of, in the 70s when everybody would do that. So she would leave our clothes on our desk, exactly in the night. She would put everything exactly what to wear, and there would be cereal on the table with a bowl and a spoon and a Flintstone vitamin in the middle, and that would be it.
A Flintstone vitamin, I love it.
Yeah, and that would be it.
But see, we just put too many judgments on ourselves and on women in general, and so I'm just not living by those type of rules anymore, and I'm not being hard on myself anymore.
I don't think you should.
But that second character, that's how she is. And then
what's the third?
The third character, she's a businesswoman, like in the upper echelon, world or whatever. And so she's made something of herself. And on the outside, she looks completely perfect. I mean, she's gorgeous. She got it together. She speaks well. She's confident. But on the inside, she is a mess. And there is a lot. So she's talking to her therapist. So the first character, Keisha, is on the phone with Jill, which is the next character you will meet. Oh. And so then you meet Jill, and Jill is talking to Stephanie because Stephanie comes over to the house to pick up a vase that she let Jill borrow. And then you will meet Stephanie in the
How do you change their physical look? How do you get to do that?
So I start with minimal clothing and then add on clothing. So Keisha is in her house, like, getting ready to go out. So she's trying on clothes. So I have on, like, some little shorts and a little, tank top. And I'm trying on clothes, taking clothes off, trying on clothes or whatever. So she doesn't have much on. And then with Jill, I throw on some baggy sweats and a sweater. And then I take that off and have the minimal clothing on and then put, like, a really sharp, like, business suit on for the third character.
What do you do for your hair?
The hair, I don't wear it in my afro style. I wear it straight. And I just kind of pin curl it and wear a bandana scarf for the first character. Uh-huh. I take the scarf off and wear my pin curls for the stay-at-home mom. Then I take my pin curls out and wear the curly hair for the last character. Oh, yeah. Wow. So it's pretty quick. I've kind of mastered, like, changing, the clothes pretty quick. And it's usually not something that I do off stage. So the lights go down very dim and I just throw my next outfit on, like, on stage.
I've not done as much theater as you, mostly work in film and television, but that was the hardest thing doing plays, was getting from one scene to the next. Yeah. With previous circumstance and where am I coming, where am I going.
Right. Yeah.
That was the hardest, because I'm real big on all that stuff.
People who have seen the show.
If you're an empty-headed actor, I guess it's easier for you.
People who have seen the show, that's been one of the comments that they're most in. They love the writing and the story, but they were like, I was blown away by how easily how easily you switch from one character to the next, and it's very believable.
It's called hard work.
It's very hard work, but it's a fantastic story. The writing is incredible, and the story itself is, like, the way it unfolds. You don't see certain things coming, and then you're like, oh my god, So I'm hoping people will come out. It's really great. But yeah, Pico Playhouse.
So you've gotten to do some television before you did Rebel. You were on MULANEY, which was a sitcom, super fun night with the wonderful gal from
Rebel Wilson. I love her.
You got to do, and you see Dick Run, which was
a little movie.
A little movie. Oh, it's not. Oh, wait a second. That's a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a sitcom. And then The Princess and the Frog, which was really wonderful for your kids to see you do that voice. Yeah. And you just did a thing called Face Value.
Oh, that's a game show. It was a game show on BET that I did. Oh, okay. Was fun. Yeah. So now for The Princess and the Frog, I'm not Princess Tiana's voice. I was George's voice, but I was the person that they used to create Princess Tiana. So I did all the body movements and facial expressions. Which was the
gal from DREAMGIRLS, right?
She was the voice, yeah.
Yes. What's her name?
Anika Noni Rose.
Right. I've met her a couple times.
Yeah, she's the voice, and I am the essence of the character. So, like, the way her face moves and the way she moves, that's all me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's a really cool process. Yeah. Really cool process. So, my kids they're...
You mean something to them because of this.
Yeah, they're like, that's my mommy's a princess. Yeah. And then when they see Georgia, they hear my voice. They're like, that's my mommy's voice, and that's my mommy.
Have you found that more opportunities since doing the series because it's moved you to a new place?
Well,
was there new agents? Was there
I'm with UTA now, which is a really fantastic agency, and they have
3-letter. Yeah. You went to a 3-letter agency.
I did, right?
Girl,
fancy. But I had a really great pilot season. They sent me out on everything you could imagine. I got pinned for a few things, but I didn't. That means
you're in the running for everyone to know.
Yes.
Used to mean you're going to get it.
Yeah, it was between me and another person.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah.
Because I used to always get it. Now, pinned doesn't mean you always get it anymore.
Nope, sure doesn't. So I didn't book anything this pilot season, but I made a lot of great.
Well, now you're on the.
I'm everybody's radar. I'm doing very well in the room, but it has been a very hard year. If I could just be transparent, it's been a very tough year for me. Like, as far as being on a show and then the show not coming back, and then I haven't booked anything. Like, I've been killing it in the room. Like, the casting directors are like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. She's amazing, but we're going in a different direction. Or, oh my God, she killed it, but she's too light skinned for this part.
I hate that. I hate that's a thing.
Yeah, what they say is it's not a right match. That's what they say. It's not a right match with the other person.
You saw my little short film, right? Mm-hmm. The one I did where my son is black and my wife is black. And my son is dark skinned black and my wife is light skinned black. And there was only one person that said, hey, that doesn't work out that way. I said, well, maybe it does.
But it does, because first of all, black people can give birth. 2 dark-skinned black people can give birth to a baby that looks like you. Yeah. If their grandparent is white or light-skinned or whatever. Or 2 light-skinned black people can give birth to a chocolate baby.
It's all biology.
It is. But recently I went out for something and they were like, oh, she was fantastic. We love her, but it's just not a right match with the lead boy because he's very, very dark-skinned. And
well, there's an obsession with all of that about, though you had seen, when I was kids, I remember that show, AIDA's Enough. Mm-hmm. Nobody looked like anybody. No. And I thought that was sort of great. And
right.
I don't see why it always matters that everybody does.
Right. But yeah,
I wanted the best actors for the roles.
Exactly. But so and then I had my appendix taken out of the blue. Like, it's just been a rough year, but I'm feeling good in the summer and I'm killing it. I'm going to book something soon. I'm very confident about that. But in the meantime,
we're on a podcast, right?
I know.
You don't care. Okay.
Look
at how great she is.
In the meantime, I'm going to produce my own.
Well, just to let you know, I think I was so impressed with you when I saw, Top of the Mountain, and you also did DreamGirls right after that.
Same time.
And was it the same time?
I was doing DreamGirls and La Mirada, and I was doing the Mountaintop.
And you got nominated for an Ovation Award? For
the Mountaintop and DreamGirls. It was an ensemble for DreamGirls, and then I got nominated for Best Lead Actress.
I mean, you've done In the Heights. Mm-hmm. You've done so many things. Mm-hmm. I think also what happens is you get so big, and you're with such a big agency that they won't send you in for smaller parts.
Oh, no, they won't. Which you know what? I'm okay with that. Because at first, I was like, I just want to go out for anything so I can work, but I don't. Mm-hmm. If I really think about it.
But there could be one scene in something that's just.
Oh, that's true. Dynamite. That's amazing. That's true. No, I'm not against that.
I think sometimes they don't
They don't think about that. Yeah.
Because, there's Viola Davis, Doubt, it's really one scene.
Right.
They cut it up in the movie and made it a little bigger, but it's really.
That's very true.
So there is. I guess as a character actor, I just did a film called Immortal with Sam Levine and Marion Peoples and Dylan Baker.
Right.
And it was 1 6-minute scene, and it's
that's
just
awesome,
in a movie that's a long time.
That's a long time.
And it was a great, great part. So I think it does happen, and they have to just dig a little deeper and work a little harder.
Yeah, because I definitely am going out for everything, but everything is like series regular,
huge
lead of the of
wife,
a movie,
the mother, the girl.
Which is great. I mean, which I'm doing great, but it would just being choosy and knowing what I want is important. For if there's anybody listening that it has not gotten to whatever the level that they want to get on or whatever. It's important to have.
I would say
know what you want.
Start at the top and work your way down.
Exactly.
Don't start at the bottom and work your way up.
Exactly.
They're going to put you there fast enough. You don't have to.
Exactly.
That's my thing always.
You don't have to. When I came here, I wasn't doing no extra work. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing no extra work.
But I have to say, if you're really, really young, if you have never been on a set,
to learn,
it's a great thing to do.
It is,
because you'll go.
But don't get stuck
right.
in being an extra, because then that's what they'll see. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, you were the one. You're the extra and everything."
There's a story about Barbra Streisand that has a dear friend and says, "My daughter wants to be an actress, Barbara. They're good friends. Would you meet with her?" And she says, "Yes, of course." She meets with the actress, and the actress says to Barbara, "Barbara, do you think that I should be an actress?" And she says, "No."
Right.
And the young girl who wants to be an actress says, "Why?" She said, "Well, if you have to ask
then
me,
you shouldn't.
Then it doesn't mean enough to you."
Exactly.
And it's just, people don't realize the amount that you have to give up to be who you are. And just emotionally, just doing the roles, it's really.
And you have to have a focus, like whatever your focus might be. Like for some people, it might work for them to do extra work and do all that kind of stuff. But for me, I just had a thought in my mind about what I wanted to do, and I didn't want to get stuck doing something.
If you're not being an extra, you just have to find a way onto a set, I think.
Right.
You got to find it so you can actually see if you really, really want to do that. Yeah. I never had to do that. I knew I wanted it.
Right.
But I did do extra work when I was very, very young.
Yeah, I did extra work one time, and I did not like it. It was fine. I had just moved to LA, and I was in.
You wanted to be on a set.
I think I was in a choir or something for some movie or whatever, and it was cool. And I was like, okay, that was cool. Like I got to see
what it was like.
I see what it was like.
Because it's so different than working in the theater, and it's so different than working in an acting class. Mm-hmm. There's the focus. Yeah. Because like I said to you before we started doing that little film Hank that I just did, to be the lead in something which I don't do.
Right.
I'm a character actor, so it was so much attention.
Yeah.
It was it was overwhelming. Yeah. And then to have to also do your job at the same time, and their emotional scenes or just physical things that you have to do that are difficult to do. And
you never know. You also have to know what kind of person you are, because I'm the type. I'm very good at going with the flow. I'm very good at acting like I know how to do things that I don't know how to do. So I didn't have pretty much any experience on a set. Not really. Like I did shoot like a little film here and there, But when I got my first guest star on Super Fun Night, I didn't have like a whole bunch of co-stars and then get a guest star. I went from not having any TV experience to getting a guest star, and I was in 20 minutes of a 30-minute show. Wow. So I didn't really know anything, like especially not about TV, nothing at all. But I just kind of like copied what I saw. The people who did know what they were doing, I kind of copied what they were doing.
The hardest thing is when you're doing a scene in something and you learn it, you have an idea about it, and then it's completely blocked.
They changed it,
differently, and you have to go, okay, how do I get from this? Especially if you're the lead. Yeah. You have to figure out, how do I get this? So I just said, hey, give me a second to figure this out.
The hardest thing for me was shooting, especially being the lead or whatever on a television show, and coming from the theater, was when the camera was not on me. Because I'm used to just theater, like in theater, the camera's always on you. There is no
right.
camera. It's both y'all all the time.
Right.
But I would forget, like, oh, the camera's not on me. So if I mess up, like if I mess up my line or whatever, it doesn't matter, Danielle. Just keep going. Like, you don't have to stop and be like, oh, I'm sorry, can we do it again? Like, the camera's not on you.
Yes.
That was the funniest
sometimes
part.
what would happen is that you're so, by the time you're doing someone else's coverage, you're so exhausted.
Right.
You just sort of, you forget what you're doing just because you're tired and you're going, oh, okay, it's not going to, I can just sit here.
And I am the queen of, like, tears. Like, it don't take nothing from me. Like, I can cry every take. Like, every take, I can cry. It's not stress for me. But the directors and stuff, because we be doing an emotional scene. And I want to give, the thing you learn about theater is you give. Like, that's what you do.
Did you dry up at all?
No.
Oh,
I don't dry up.
I would.
I don't. I just don't. Like, I thank the Lord for that gift. Like, you know, unless I'm all in my head about, if I'll dry up if I'm in my head about it.
So then it does happen.
But if I decide, like, Danielle, breathe and don't be in your head, like, then I'll cry easy and the tears will come. Now, in the audition, the only time I dry up is in auditions, because in auditions, I'm thinking about too much. I'm like, this isn't real. This is not, you know, in my head, I'm in this small little room and this person's looking at me. So it's harder for me to cry. But when I'm on set or I'm on the stage, usually,
all I have to do is look into somebody's eyes.
Tears will come.
If I can look into somebody's eyes, but I had seen in this film where I couldn't look into somebody's eyes. And I had to sort of, and what I planned it, I thought, oh boy, I'm going to do this. I was counting on him. Because we had this thing going on.
Right.
And then I had to, so I said, just give me a minute. And I went off to the side and I came and I did it.
Yeah, no, but I would give the other person, because I feel like it's unfair to not give the coverage is on that person. So they need something from you.
For those at home, coverage means when the camera's on them, that's their coverage. When the camera's on you, that's your coverage. Yeah,
so I don't think it's right. Or just
no,
personally,
I try my best.
I think it's right. Yeah, you try your best every time. But it would be funny because the director would come over and be like, damn, you want to save your tears for your coverage? And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. Like, I'm good. And they'd be like, okay. And then they turn the coverage on me.
Do you have to do something?
No, I just think about what's happening.
See, I have to sing a little. I sing a little.
Really?
Yeah, I can sing. There's certain songs.
And
I'll just go, easy come, easy go, and then I'll just start to cry. See, isn't it funny? There's certain songs that things, or I'll have something on my, see, it starts to happen. And I'll listen to certain scenes on movies on my phone. Yeah. I'll bring it up, like I bring Kramer versus Kramer up.
Oh my gosh.
When Meryl Streep says, I was his mommy. You know?
So
or I hear Streisand singing My Man from Funny Girl.
I love it. No, I literally think about what's going on in the scene. Like that. If I'm connected to what's going on in the scene,
I should try that sometime.
I have no problem crying. But
I rarely have to cry.
They would be like, then they turn the coverage on me or whatever, and I would cry. And they'd be like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know, man. If I'm in it, I'm in it.
If a black woman in 2018, I have to deal with this shit.
To cry about, no.
So tell me, let's talk about faith, because your husband is a minister. I want to talk about faith for a second, because you and I'm not a Christian. I'm a Jew, but I'm not a Jew. I don't believe in religion for me. And you and I think of you as a dear friend, even though we don't see each other. There's a connection between us. And I have such an ultimate respect for anybody who has something in their life that really connects them, to whatever. Because I think, honestly, I think it's all made up in a way. It really is. And it's just whatever gets you to a place of kindness, generosity, equality, fairness, that's peace. That's what it's all about. And that's, because to me, it seems like there's so much attached to religion that has nothing to do with God, higher power, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is for you. I'm of the school of thinking that, we really never leave the planet. We're always here.
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, that's in my mind. I don't know if it's the truth, but that's what I do as I get older. I think, I think we're always here. There's connections with people that you have that you think, why am I so like the minute I met you?
Right? Like maybe we knew each other a long time.
I don't know what it is, or maybe we've always known each other, because I saw you and I felt an immediate connection. Yeah. I didn't feel like you were someone who was a foreigner or strange to me. I felt you were a sister in some way, and that's what I feel like. That's a God moment.
I agree.
To me,
I agree with you.
You know, and when you live with somebody, were you a Christian when you met your husband?
Oh yeah. I've been a Christian my entire life. I'm a pastor's daughter.
Oh, so it's
I grew up in the church. Yeah, my dad became a pastor when I was about 13, I think, or something like that. So
it always worked for you.
Yeah, we have a ministry. My parents have a ministry in Sacramento. My grandfather was a pastor. His brothers were pastors. Like, it's a lineage of
So
faith.
It's no mistake that you married one.
No, and he wasn't a minister when we got married.
Oh man.
I've known my husband since high school, or since junior high school. We grew up in the same city. We dated in high school, and then we broke up, and then I moved here for acting, and he was here going to college, and then we got back together, and we both were at a church in the valley here, and then he said that he felt like God was calling him to be a minister, and I was like, okay. It's always been a part of my life, but I said okay because I really did believe that he has a calling on his life for it. Even as a barber, he's like always.
Well, being a barber is
being a minister.
It's a strange thing. Hair.
Yeah.
And for someone who doesn't have any, I'm very obsessed with it.
Well, you have some on your face.
On my face, yeah. But it is a thing. Because something about it is so personal.
Yeah. So that's what he was doing anyway when he was being a barber. But he felt like he was called to ministry, and I was all for it, supportive. And then afterward, I was like, wait, but what about me? Like, how am I going to be a minister's wife and an actress? Like, how is that?
Where's my Sunday?
Right. And we have church on Saturday nights, so we don't have church on Sundays. We chill on Sunday. But
I love that.
We have church on Saturday nights because everybody has church on Sunday. So what's the point in having another church on Sunday?
I love that.
Yeah. So
I love that you're like creating your own.
Yeah, we have our own culture. Yeah, and it's like creating opportunity for people. It doesn't matter what church you go to. It doesn't matter whether you go to church, don't go to church on Sunday. You can fellowship with us on a Saturday night.
Because the first time I went to Not Another Hashtag was in the church with your husband.
Yeah, the living room.
And I brought some people with me, I think, both times. And I remember thinking, people always ask me, what does it feel like to go in this place where, since you're Jewish, and I think I'm Jewish culturally, it's a very deep part of me. Yeah. But it's not, the religion, I like things, and I pick and choose, and it's like a poo-poo platter of stuff. But I'm not really attached to tradition.
And our space isn't set up.
No, and they said what was really interesting is that people would say, how do you go in a room and connect with people that are either of a different color or different? But I said, it doesn't do it to me. I've never had that, and I don't.
And it shouldn't be that hard.
It's about the end game goal to me. Is it and just the kindness.
Mm-hmm. And God doesn't. That's not how it is with God either. I always say, to God, we're just hearts. Like when he sees you, like he just sees a heart. Mm-hmm. He doesn't see like, oh, Jason has these ears and those,
Well, that's because this goes away. This goes away, and then the soul comes out.
That's all he sees is our souls, like walking around. That's it. We're and like you were saying about religion, because I'm not a big fan of religion either. Like as far as like, especially in the Christian church, oh, you can't wear pants if you're a woman. You can't do this. You can't do like all
for
that.
Women, it's really been
all
very
that
difficult.
Is man-made. Like all of that has nothing to do with God. Like God, I believe God is up there shaking his head. Like, what are y'all doing? Like you guys are complicating life. Mm-hmm. Like focus on the things that are really important. Like focus on treating people right. Focus on not separating immigrant families from their children, separating those families. Focus on not disenfranchising people.
And forgiveness.
Focus on forgiveness.
I mean, that's such a big deal, especially if there's anybody younger listening to it, is you just need to, unless your parents raped you or beat you with a tire iron, you need to learn to forgive these people
and even
for
if
not
they
being,
did, forgiveness is for you.
Yes.
Forgiveness is not for
There's a place
the person.
for that.
If you want to be free, some crazy things happened to me when I was a child. I forgave those people for me. Not for them, because I want to be free of that. I don't want to always be. Them people, they live in their life, and you still.
Why do you have to be the person that happened to? That terrible thing happened to. I like to let go of that.
Right, because that was in my head.
I used to see it like Post-its on me. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm the person that got beat up. Yeah. I'm the person that got fired from this because I was gay. This is the person who didn't have the. And I don't want to be that guy. No. And it's a fight every day.
Yeah, it is.
It is a fight to not have that become attached to you. And for some reason in this society of our world, we seem to want to, glorify the negative and not the positive.
Yeah, but I think that when we get, especially as Christians, I feel, and as people in general, but when we start really focusing on the things that are important and treating people right, regardless of what I think about the way you live your life, the way you dress, or the way you whatever, treat people with love and respect. Like, that's it. It's not, I don't think it's for us to be trying to dictate how people should be living. Like, that is not, I don't think that that's my place, and I don't have anything to do with that. Somebody
wrote a piece about the guy that didn't want the gay people to buy the birthday cake, and compared that to Sarah Huckabee being kicked out of a restaurant because they didn't want her there. And I thought, well, that's an interesting comparison. That I don't know what that really means. I think just the idea that we don't want to sell things to people in a public place, is the same thing that we did to black people for a million years.
Yeah.
That we did to people who, when something smacks of that kind of thing, that's when I get scared.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Sarah Huckabee fan.
I ain't gonna lie. If I had a restaurant and Trump came in, I wouldn't want to serve him.
Yes.
Because I feel
I couldn't eat. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to serve him. I would be like, no, you can't eat here.
But if we do that, then we stop the people that want to go and get the cake for their. We have to know what sometimes we have to just go.
But
okay.
They're not bad people. Like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
I don't. That person might not have agreed with their sexual preference or whatever.
They had a will and
lifestyle.
grace about that, where Karen wants to get a cake for this Trump party coming to New York, and Grace has to go get it. She says, "I don't want to do that." But if you don't do that, if it doesn't go both ways, then we have we have that problem of saying, "Hey, they can do this back," and I think that's. Really, really important not to do that. Even though, unless somebody, I guess, there probably is some, murderers, I guess. But even that is, I don't know. I don't think I'd let Charles Manson into my restaurant.
But we have to.
I guess so.
But see, I don't agree with that.
I'm not sure how I feel. I mean, I'm processing it honestly.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have an answer for it honestly.
Yeah.
I find what. She's doing is egregious, and and there's a negative. She'll tell people to be, she won't let people finish questions, and she won't answer them directly, and she'll decide what she should, But is that worth saying? Hey, I don't want you in my restaurant,
right?
To where these two people that wanted to just get a wedding cake, and they didn't even know these people or anything other.
I see those things. I see those two things as different.
I do too. I'm on your page, believe me, but. We have to go, okay, put myself in these people. How does it pay off, and what's the payoff to it?
That's true. I mean, well, in my head, it's like you can't go around doing people wrong and just get to live your life like, oh yeah, I get to do people wrong and tear up families and whatever, and still be
treated, lie about it,
and then be treated with the finest service.
And then say on the radio it was Dr. Laura, and she said that, that she, the people, if they came here with their children, they're doing that by doing that. They shouldn't come. They know it's illegal, but it isn't illegal to come here for asylum. It is not illegal.
It's not.
And that's how this country was built. And that's the part of it. She always says that she wants the facts and what's real. Well, that's the part that she doesn't know.
Right.
And I hope that someone.
She's affecting.
Right.
The lives of tons of people.
But on the other hand of it, she has said a lot of really.
To get their cake are not
right.
Like, what are they?
They're not affecting anybody other than those two people and their wedding cake.
Yeah, they gotta eat. Like they gotta eat. They gotta celebrate. Like that's the stuff that
I understand. But you can't have it both ways. That's what it is. If you create, and the law is that if you're coming from another country, you're allowed to go for asylum, and you're not supposed to have your children taken from you when that happens. And that's a law, and I hope if anybody hears this and has a connection to Dr. Laura, that they'll call her or speak or say that.
Right.
Because it's true. But nonetheless, I love talking to you. I hope to see you and your husband. I hope to see that I'm coming to the play.
Yay.
I'm going to be there. It's August 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yep.
And it's at the Pico Playhouse. And if anybody wants a ticket, how do they get that?
If you want a ticket, you can go to www.theblackgirlblues.com.
And if you forget that, just go to jasonstewart.com, as you all do, STUART, send me an email, and I will connect you up with Danielle. You have a website?
No.
No website.
I have Instagram.
She's on everything.
Yeah.
And
Instagram,
if you forget her name
Facebook.
and can't spell it, just come to me. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Thank you, Jason. I love it.
Take care, everybody. Talk to you next week.